Are you ready for Jive Turkey's Cray Cray for Dede? Number 2. Here we go. The bucket was thrown into the well of stories. The bucket was full, and so we pulled it up, straining. We grabbed the bucket and threw it into a conclave with mixed cement and sand. And we began to mix the cement and sand together to make the stories, mixing all the syllables and words together with the cement to make sentences stick together. And thus it was so. When I say fo shang, you say fo shama. Fo shang, fo shama. Fo shang, fo shama. And so it was. Let the stories begin. Let the stories begin. We were in blank, a car of your choice, and it was headed off the cliff. Alas, I was about to be jerky. The Gatling was pointed to my head, and the man who held it was a midget whose right eye was blue and whose left eye was black. His blue eye was looking dead at me. Look here, kid. Either you tell me a joke or we're driving off this here cliff. I said as I began one of my Uncle Joe's jokes. A man was driving on a freeway when his right rear tire was punctured by a rusted nail. So he pulls off the freeway across the street in front of a mental ward. Just then we hit a bump and the whole car shook. We were 1 minute away from driving off the cliff. Keep it together, I thought. We don't have much time, Sonny, the midget said, prodding me. So he goes to get a donut from the trunk and sees a man in a straitjacket watching him behind the gate. The man had a hat on that said, I despise liver, but I adore steak. So he gets his jack and wrench and takes the nuts off the tire, grabs his coffee and takes a sip. As he puts the coffee cup down, he hits the wrench hits the jack. And just as he moves his left hand out of the way, he knocks all 4 nuts into the gutter. Now, what am I going to do? He asks himself. The man in the straitjacket answers him. Take a nut out from each of the other tires and then screw the donut in with those. That'll be enough to get you home. Why didn't I think of that? He asks himself aloud. The man in the straitjacket says, I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Everyone in the car is laughing as we repeat, I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid. The midget yells, swerve from the cliff! The driver was anything but a droid, because he was this big, clumsy, Frankenstein-looking sycophant. He slammed on the brakes and we nearly flipped over. Dang! Dust everywhere when the car finally stopped. We couldn't see a thing. The back right tire was off the cliff. If I had been on the right side of the car, we would have surely fallen to utter perdition. We laughed again and said, I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Just then the midget snapped his fingers and I was in Cambodia. Da 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 da. Let's get it right. Da 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 da. And I was in Cambodia. I was lost in the maze of the Cambodian jungle, with only my robotic owl, Jam Master Hootie Hoo, to help me find my way. Hootie Hoo, I said, and the Jam Master replied, Hootie Hoo, which triggered his night vision. He located a relic of the past by some ancient ruins near a tree. Chipped and carved, the leaf image of an ancient dancer with hands that suggested motion. It laid there still as a rock, motionless as it was, yet so full of anticipated movement and the stories of the ancient Khmer. As I picked it up, the Aspara spoke to me. She was wearing an opulent crown with the forbidden jewel of Tonsap Lake in the middle of her crown. She said, put me into the light of the full moon. The shadow of the Aspara appeared on the ground with full movement and life. Just then she began the Sabak Tom of Manahora. She taught me the art of the shadow. so I could use it in time to confront the word beast, Imperceptible. Hooty hoo, I called out, and hooty hoo, Jam Master Hooty hoo replied. Jam on it, jam on. A three-dimensional map appeared before me, the Nam Baking. No longer led astray by the thick jungle, I set out for Nam Baking, clear as day in the middle of the night. I made it there at last, depleted and drained, but I perked up and was re-energized when I saw a food stand by the gates. It was Cambodian New Year, and the place was festive and colorful. Although I was reluctant to try some of the food at first, my hunger was eager and willing, and thus it drove and goaded me forward to order a plate. The smells were painting my nose like an artist. It painted my nose The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. The smells were that good. Swirling in the sky, burnt banana leaves, rice, fish, garlic, and the cypress tree was representing the mystery of it all. The moon in the painting was the smell of kralan, a Cambodian dessert for New Year's made with coconut milk, banana leaves, bamboo, and rice. Satisfied, I walked through the entrance happy and content. The food was good. An imperceptible presence appeared, blank me from getting to my blank. Hooty hoo, I said. Hooty hooty hoo, Jam Master Hooty answered and zapped it. The word imperceptible was hovering above, and I began to perceive 5 Khmer Rouge soldiers and Pol Pot were sent to prevent me from finding the ring of Manahora. Here was a man responsible for killing 25% of the Cambodian population during the 70s. My shadow was on the ground by the light of the full moon. My shadow took his rope from his bag of his shadow tricks and lassoed Pol Pot and his henchmen. I found the ring and a key. I took the key and unlocked the I and M from the rest of the word and perceived my way back to California. I emancipated the puppy from the entrails of the word imperceptible. They gave me my nieces and I gave them the ring. We were having a good old time at the ice cream parlor when I saw a sign for Ohio. Next week, we go to Mexico for Cinco de Mayo. Now you must decide which class will be in the next adventure. Jive turkeys, Cray for Dede, number 3. Jive on, jive on. I want you jive, jive, jive on. A jive on, jive on. I want you jive, jive, jive on. A jivon, a jivon, a jivon, javon, javon, von.